Robbie asks, who is the best coaching option for the Chicago Bears to change the culture and get Caleb on the right track and win some games? Choose one. Okay, so I think you got to go back to the firing of Matt Eberflus, which happened on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and where they were at then. And I think correctly, they looked at it and said, we need a leader of men. We need somebody who's going to develop more than one position or one player. We need somebody who's going to work with the entire building to try to establish what we are. Sort of like what the Lions got when they hired Dan Campbell, which was on the advice largely of Chris Spielman, who told ownership, like, this is what you need to do. You need to establish an identity. The Bears have been really bad at that, over the course of the last 15 years. Again, they haven't won a playoff game since 2010. And they've been through, I believe it's 4 coaches, going from Lovie Smith to Mark Trestman to John Fox to Matt Nagy to Matt Eberflus, and 3 general managers, going from Phil Emery to Ryan Pace to Ryan Poles. A lot of those measures were to, I think, fix the previous problem. You go from offense to defense, experience to less experience. And so I think what they need is somebody to come in there and reestablish a culture and an identity for the Chicago Bears. That's why I think Mike Vrabel and Aaron Glenn were so attractive to them in the first place. Then they go through the rest of the season, the 6 weeks that were left. Caleb Williams is up and down and all over the place. The offense doesn't perform. And so I think to some degree you adjust what you're looking for a little bit, where it's like whoever comes in as that leader of men is going to have a very clear plan for the offense, for the quarterback. We're going to need to see his vision on that too. So you're sort of asking for 2 things here. I think looking at Vrabel and Aaron Glenn out of the box was the right thing to do. I think both those guys would bring a lot of what you are looking for. Vrabel is a culture setter. Glenn came from Detroit, where they set the culture. Both those guys are ex-players. So you have to get the offensive plan with both those guys. I think Ben Johnson is capable of being a leader, but opposite of what Vrabel and Glenn would have to prove, where they'd have to prove they have an offensive plan. Johnson brings the offensive plan. Now he's got to prove that he can be the guy in the front of the room. And I think one thing about Ben that's missed sometimes is that he's very self-aware, and he's, comfortable in his own skin, sort of the same way Mike McDaniel is comfortable in his own skin and capable of leading his own way. And I think he knows what he doesn't know, and he'll get support in the areas where he needs it. So like those are 3 guys that I think have been at the top of a lot of lists and the top of the Bears list. And the Bears are running a very wide ranging search. I look at it and I say Vrabel would be the one, because I think Vrabel might be most capable right out of the box of hitting both of those things. If he could bring in Josh McDaniels with him, I think Tommy Rees would be on his list too, but Josh would be an interesting one for him in Chicago, working with Caleb Williams, because I think you would look at it and say, okay, this guy isn't going to be chasing the next head coaching job, because he's already failed twice, with that. So he would be comfortable as potentially a long-term offensive coordinator here. I think Mike Vrabel would make a lot of sense for the Bears. I think he's a great fit for the city. He might give me crap for saying that, but I think he'd be a good fit for the city. I think he sort of looks Chicago-ish. I think he'd be the right kind of guy. But I think any of those 3 guys would do a really good job there, which is why they're in such high demand across the NFL